Hi everyone, my name is Carol. I'm one of the founders of I'm one of the directors, local directors of the Institute Frankfurt. Together with me, we have also other fellow local directors, including Britta, Eugene, and also Quentin here, as well as mentors and also partners that we have that has been in this session. And the idea for today is really to understand the journeys of each of the different founders. What are some of the challenges and learnings, what excites them as well today, and then to see if we can learn from each other and the synergy. So it will be a very informal, I think, discussion. So for those who are here, feel free to add questions to the chat or unmute later on during the Q&A session. But feel free to leverage this session for your own experience. So Quentin, maybe would you like to share a bit more about FI before we go in depth?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a graduate of FI. I went through the program in Cologne in 2019 and I launched a company there. And so I'm just going to give a short presentation to give you an idea of like the structure of it and what we do and how it works. So I'm going to try to share my screen. And Carolina, maybe you can give me a thumbs up. You see that? Okay, awesome. So we are, of course, Founder Institute. We're the world's largest pre-seed accelerator. We're in a lot of cities, including Frankfurt. We've helped create a lot of companies, which have created a lot of value. We believe entrepreneurs can create real impact on society, but we believe that most startups fail because they lack expert feedback and focus during early stages. So we created this program to help you get to traction and funding, which we have found to be the two hardest milestones for early stage entrepreneurs to achieve. And we help you do that through a devoted support network and a structured growth process. Our focus is helping early stage founders get to traction and funding, like I said. That includes people who want to launch something but have no idea what, to teams that already have a product but are trying to get revenue and investment. So if you fall anywhere within those, that's probably a good fit for us and we'd like to talk to you. Our core FI program lasts 4 months, but that's really just a small part of what the Founder Institute offers. After the program, we built a number of structured post programs, which we call Founder Lab, to help alumni get to the next milestones. These are 100% virtual. I think they're also with staff out of Silicon Valley. They're completely free for graduates of the main program. And as an FI alum, you also get access to the world's largest network of founders, mentors, and investors, which you can lean on for help, introductions, and more. That's been really valuable in my own process. Here's a few of our graduates all together, not only these ones on the screen, but all together. They've raised nearly $1 billion, and we've got over 60 exits at our last count. What we do is pretty simple. We find great people. We give them a support network, and then we put them through an extremely structured growth process. So our great people, 100% the greatest variable in success or failure of any startup isn't really the idea or the market or the funding or the product even. It's really the people. The success and failure of any startup is that. So mainly your founders, so you and your co-founders. You're the ones that execute, you're the ones that adapt your ideas to the market and customer feedback. And you're the ones ultimately that create something that customers want. And this is why we have an application process and why we ask so many questions. Okay, but it's not just about the people. Once we find the right group, we give them a strong support network. And we do this because great companies are not built alone, which seems obvious, right? The idea that you can kind of hole yourself up in the basement and close your blinds and don't share your idea with anybody until you're like completely ready and everything's perfect, that's really a recipe for failure. But unfortunately, it's a very popular recipe, and probably all of us know people doing that. You need to share your idea with as many people as you possibly can, because that's the only way you can prevent yourself from spending a lot of time and money building something that nobody wants. And we help you do that. So the next step after we find great people and give them a network is to provide a structured process for them to go through. And we do this because we believe one of the biggest challenges early stage founders face is knowing what to focus on and when. So building a business is kind of like a blank canvas sometimes. There's like a million different things that you could be doing at any time. And I can tell you, having gone through this myself, it's just overwhelming. Like everything is priority number one. So we try to give you something to focus on through the program and help you figure out what's actually important. Time is your scarcest resource. And if you don't focus on the right things at the right points, it's likely that you'll fail, right? It's the founders that focus on the right things and move quickly who succeed. So we help you do that. What we've done at FI is create a structured process to remove the uncertainty and help you focus on the right things in a sequential fashion and make real progress quickly. So every week through our program, there's 14 weeks, you'll be completing aggressive sprints to make real world progress on your business. So it's not really homework you're doing, you're really working on your business straight through the program. You get feedback and guidance in weekly feedback sessions with mentors. You're not just moving quickly, you're moving smartly. At these sessions, mentors will share some of their best practices, things they learned the hard way, which they hope you won't have to learn the hard way. They'll review your pitch, your progress, your strategy, help you interpret any data that you're collecting, and hopefully help you make the right decisions at each step. So this is kind of what our core program looks like. There's actually 2 different tracks. I think this is like the launch track, but they're quite similar. And we'll divide the applicants based on where you are in your business. Let's see, there's 14 sessions. Everything, of course, is once a week. Each one is focused on a specific topic, and we bring in expert mentors that focus on that specific topic. So that could be like revenue or go-to-market. You can see across the top all the different weeks. And then outside the sessions, you undergo a series of growth sprints to make progress on your business. Like I said, this isn't homework. These are actual things that help your business, like collecting, your email list, or finding partners, finding customers, maybe doing product testing, things like that. Each sprint is structured and sequential, and each one builds on the last one. As an FI alum, you get access to the global network, our Silicon Valley portfolio success team, a bunch of discounts, which are cool, and a great network in Frankfurt, which stretches really around the world. You also get structured post programs, which we call the Founder Lab. I mentioned those before. These programs provide you with continuing feedback and structure to achieve the next milestones. They are 100% virtual and free for all the alumni, like I said. We currently have 3 programs in the Founder Lab. First one is Product Market Fit Lab. Obviously, that helps you with product market fit. So if you're struggling with something like that, this is another structured program you go through to achieve that. There's Funding Lab to help you close a lead investor for a seed round. That's hopefully within 6 months. And a Venture Lab, which is geared for later stage startups. And that's if you're raising like a Series A, like a much bigger investment round. Okay, almost done, but I want to offer a warning. The program is difficult. I think it's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Of course, it's up to you how difficult you want to make it. If you take it very seriously, which I did, it was tough. We're here to help, but we're here to help people that are serious, that are open to feedback, and ready to put in the work required to build a great business. So if that's not you, this might not be the right program for you. If you think you have what it takes, we would be very happy to have you. Anyone who attends one of our events, which this is one of them, you can apply for free. So everybody here, it's a free application. There's actually a cool personality test as part of that. I think that's worth doing just for that. You get like a little report about who you are and which qualities you have and whether that is sort of a typical founder. There is a course fee, which basically just covers our cost to administer the programs, and it is reduced right now. We have like an early bird session, or early bird period until 19th of September. After that, it goes up to $8.99. So that's definitely worth getting into. There is a full refund if you drop out before the 3rd session. So no risk to you. You get all your money back, no questions asked. You can try it out and see if it's for you. This program will save you time and money. If your idea isn't viable, we will help you realize that before you spend the next 3 years devoting all your weekends to it. If your idea is viable, we will cut months or even years off the time it takes you to get up and running. So that is my little pitch. If you guys have questions, I'm a graduate, Caroline is a graduate. We've all been in this program for a couple of years. We'd be very happy to help you. We'll put our LinkedIn stuff in the chats and reach out to us anytime. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Lots. Thanks, Quentin. Appreciate it. So speaking of a tough program, I think the best way to introduce Corinna, our founder as well as mentor, is she's a very tough founder, a very tough lady who, have with also a very positive outlook and a fantastic journey as a founder, and also how you started as a founder. So what do you, maybe we first to introduce you, Corinna, who's the founder of INGA, and sharing a bit about your journey.
Thank you very much, Caro. So yeah, I'm the founder and CEO of INGA. We are a social recruiting chatbot HR tech company based here in Frankfurt. We are at the moment 12 people, out of which 8 are women. So yeah, power to the ladies. Of course, there are some men involved as well, but it's like a very good partnership that we have. And I also do have a co-founder, or more or less 2 male co-founders. And one of the reasons why I actually have founded INGA together, because I would have not founded INGA alone. Yeah, so this is the current situation. Going back to where I come from, I used to work at a corporation here in Frankfurt, 11 years at JP Morgan, secure job, good pay, super traction to doing European recruiting and stuff like that, well-structured recruiting process, super cool employer, yeah, but something was missing. I did not really know what, but something was missing. And that was the time where I had a lot of to do with, for example, Escape the City. I don't know if anyone knows about that. That is where also kind of people who think about like getting out of like a corporate job come together and meet like-minded people. And that is also, by the way, something that I cherish about Founder Institute, is that you have like-minded people where you can share your ideas, your fears, your challenges, but also your successes, and where no one looks at you, are you serious? That's dangerous. And where is the security in it and stuff like that? Are you crazy to pursue your dream? So that was like a period where I found a lot of support as well. Back in the day when I thought about leaving my secure and safe corporate job. I did that in 2015, not knowing what I really wanted to do beside changing the world of recruiting. That was something that I was passionate about back then, and I'm still passionate about now. And then actually I did was what Quentin just said. I shared my ideas with like potential clients, because the idea was I would like to educate startups on HR architecture and help them to actually grow quicker, especially after an investment. And so I toured all the startup events, including WeWork. I just recognized the mug. Caro, where did you get that mug from? Yes, I want one as well. Yeah, and so I toured that and I shared my idea. I said, listen, so HR is so important. How can I help you? What do you need? What would you be willing to pay for? And so in the end, then the thing was actually that someone said, okay, if you come in for 3 to 6 months as interim head of HR, that would be something really beneficial for us as a growing startup. We would pay you X, Y. Let's try it. And then I did it. Yeah, and some projects went longer than others, with a higher impact, lower impact, and that was something where I learned my ropes, more or less. And then with INGA, it was all about networking. So I'm a big networking fan. With the very first question, how can I help you? Yeah, reciprocität on English, reciprocation. What's the English word of it?
Like, I have no idea.
Give first. Yeah, so it means you first give something, yeah, without the actual idea of you need to get something back, but you will get in addition. Yeah, so that's kind of the mindset, and that's also something here that I experience here and in Frankfurt overall. And so that was then something in the networking world where then Kim, male, my co-founder Kim, then kind of reached out to me and said, come on, let's do something, let's change the world. And he brought us together, back then Francisco and myself, and then we started the INGA journey, actually. And what am I passionate about? Getting rid of the CV in the selection process. Hashtag no CV. That is something where I'm passionate about, and where we at INGA use a chatbot to already put that into practice, specifically for blue-collar workers, because I think blue-collar workers are still underrated and not approached correctly. Because why would you ask a nurse or an auto mechanic to write a CV? Because if you work in an office, we don't ask you in the selection process to change the tire of a car, right? And so same but different. Let's try to make a selection process a suitable one for everyone. That is what I'm passionate about at the moment. And I also had like some two kind of things that not went that well during my 4 years with INGA now, by the way. 2017 we started it, 2019 GmbH founding. First of all, we spent a lot of money, almost all money of our first investment, into a software that we did not test. So we hid in the cellar, we developed it, and we spent it, and we never used the software. Yeah, and so we spent a lot of money on something that we did not use because we did not test it frequently. And the second thing was right before COVID, we signed a 2 years office lease in a wonderful office at the Taunusturm. Yeah, which now also kind of blocks a lot of liquidity. So as an early startup, short-term contracts. Yeah, go to co-working spaces where you have like a short contract, so that if stuff happens like COVID that no one knew about before, you are still flexible with the liquidity. Liquidity is key in every startup. And that's more than 5 minutes, I think, but I hope it gave you some ideas to think about. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Corinna. I think Corinna has been such a fantastic mentor and advisor. Kim as well. So we got the whole team on board advising the founders or the early stage founders. I think one of the questions following on that we would also ask the rest of the panelists today is, how has the crisis affected? But, as you said, cash flow is king in the world of startups. So thanks for sharing. And great to hear the journey, because I think with FI, we have been part of the journey with you. So thanks for sharing. The next person that I would like to invite, feel free to add the questions. Those of you who are here, we are a small group today, so we can have a very intimate discussion and also exchange between the founders. So feel free to leverage this platform. I would like to invite Magdalena from FREMEN, who's currently in Frankfurt, but based in Berlin, just moved to Berlin, I think going to Cologne in between as well, based on our discussion earlier. Magdalena is the co-founder of FREMEN, a very successful startup story that I think will be exciting for us to learn more. And I just got to know this story that Magdalena met the founder of Founder Institute, Adiresi, in 2015, sitting on the car that's owned by Elon Musk, right? So, and then met him again when he came to Frankfurt 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So would you like to share a bit more? Thanks for being here as well, Magdalena.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah, that was actually a very funny story. So yeah, I mean, I'm the co-founder and the CMO at FREMEN. Since December, we partially belong to a global media company. So we did our first exit to Axel Springer, and we're super excited about all that. About this story about Adiresi was super funny because, everyone was talking about Silicon Valley, and I really just wanted to see how it is in real life. So in 2015, I moved there. And there were some master classes and stuff. We had one master class with Adio, and then he said, actually, I need to jump to this next event, and don't you want to join us? And then funny, he had borrowed the car of one of his friends, Elon Musk. So that was the first time I even sat on a Tesla, and that was actually also Elon Musk's private car that they just switched for the day. It was very funny, and I kind of got to know the Founders Institute, and just super happy to be here today. Yeah, after that, that journey began. I worked previously at Google for 3 years in Europe in IT transformation, and then in 2018, I co-founded FREMEN together with my 3 co-founders. We are actually three guys. I always say the 3 musketeers and me. So in 2019, we received international venture capital, moved also to Berlin from Frankfurt, which was a great starting point, great network. But because of our media and tech expertise and what we wanted to actually do was just strategically more interesting to move to Berlin. And 2020, we exited to Axel Springer. Currently, we employ around 50 people full-time and operate in 10 countries. For 2022, we plan to grow to over 100 people and also have offices in UK and in the US. So it's a super exciting journey. It has always been from day one or from day zero, let's say. And even now, because we're just growing more people, and this tiny little seed that we founders kind of planted, it became a little plant already, a super paradise plant. and now it's growing to a tree, I guess. So that is super excited. What I really like about this session today is giving back, like and sharing. Since also, this year is kind of the giving back year. I'm part of the board of the German Marketing Institute, the German Marketing Association, and it's just a lot of fun to connect with people and also bring the spirit out there. Actually, also as the only female person and the youngest one, but at the end, the mixture of people makes the difference, and being together with a lot of different people just is such a great value. I really can recommend founding a startup, as Carolina already said, with a few people or like with many people, sharing your story, sharing your ideas, because it will just develop further and further and to the better. And also trying to find founders or co-founders that are not like-minded, or at least not have the same background as you have. At FREMEN, one of our co-founders, he is like the huge IT backend architect. The other one is more front-end architect, a front-end developer, and deals with a lot of photography in his free time and has like a huge passion for media. And my other co-founder, Dimitri, he is from the banking and digitalization industry. So that was more his background. So everyone has a different background, and that's what I really value. Yeah, and also as Quentin said, I just really like this relation to, building a company is like a blank canvas, and there's like millions and thousands of important tasks, but there's no winning formula, no recipe for success. And also, I mean, you're just trying, what is the correct one? You just try to not stick your head into the sand. Also what happened last year during COVID. So at the end, what I can recommend is just, and what was very beneficial for us was trying to build an MVP as soon as possible, and then continuously listening to our clients and to our first movers, adapters, talking to many people, not even to these people that would buy your product, but especially also talking to these people that are actually the users and that bought the product, because there's always a difference if this person is just does just like your product, or if he would really consider buying it or even buying it. So that's like one thing I really felt important, and also kind of the reason why we became what we are now. What I'm passionate about, it's definitely connecting people, places, and products. The 3P, what's FREMEN doing actually? So yeah, at FREMEN, we bring customer-centric entertainment on TVs in all kinds of venues like offices, gyms, hotels, gas stations, retail, pharmacies, and much more. And this is kind of what we do now, and that's our sweet spot that we found. At the end, it was a long journey, and it has a lot of stuff to do with social thinking, because these locations, on the one hand, they can gain significant revenues by displaying advertisement on the screens, and also having us as a content management system. And on the other hand, brands that really value talking and communicating to these specific people in a luxurious hotel or in a low budget hotel, they really want to get high attention and reach their target groups in their context. So we connect people, places, products. That's what I'm really passionate about. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to hear the next ideas and speakers.
Thank you so much. And what you said is really important, right? Because we've all been through the journey. So the giving back part is, I think, what many of us here, the reason for us being here in the session as well. So thank you for stepping in and giving back to the community of Founder Institute in Frankfurt, as well as the wider ecosystem. I'm also founder of Ahead, and I think we have the privilege to be one of the winners of FREMEN's marketing campaign. So looking forward to being part of that process as well. And thanks for sharing. We have definitely much more questions for you to understand your journey. So look forward also to have you come in during the Q&A. Michelle is our next founder. Michelle is the founder of Supplino. Recently moved from Darmstadt in Germany to California Now with the international, I mean, you are also with a lot of international experience, also a graduate from the Founder Institute Frankfurt program in the first ever semester that we ran here. 3 years ago already, 3 years when we started, right? Pre-pandemic, so a lot of things would have changed. And you now have moved so quickly in your journey, so it would be great to also hear from you, and now also a mentor of the program. So Michelle.
Thank you, Carolina. Yeah, and maybe I can represent the position of an older founder, because I am they call us graypreneurs now. Anybody over, I think over 45 even, which to me, 45 is not old, okay? But I'm 55, and I was 53 or 52 when I started, coming from a corporate background. Always similar to Corinna, always feeling the itch that corporate was not really where I wanted to be, but never clear on what the alternative was. And so I followed my personal approach was to save money and sock it away for a business someday. And then that day came when I could take advantage of the situation at corporate, and I got a package that could, severance package. I volunteered for it strategically, right? Knowing that I would add that to my savings and then use that to start my company. So a little bit about Supplino. Supplino is, we make the product manufacturing, physical product manufacturing easier. So we are focused on supply chain, and that's a very different type of topic, physical products and supply chain technology, than many tech companies on services. It's breathing life into a sleepy old industry, which is what I really like to do, and bring some, inject some creativity and the ease that we see of platforms today into some place that is just way behind that. So for my company, the journey that we've had, I think when we talk about the Founder Institute and what helped us most of all was really the emphasis on customer validation. And I think Corinna mentioned it, and I've heard it in other founder discussions. And then Magdalena just mentioned it, talk to the customers. And one of the biggest lessons or truisms for me is don't fall in love with your product idea, right? Your idea, it's just an idea, right? It might be a great idea, might not be a great idea, but you need to be open to finding out what customers actually want and what they need. And sometimes what they need is not what they want, and sometimes what they want is not what they need, right? So you have to really listen and be open and adjust your product and adjust your idea to something that's going to fit that customer. And you have to pay close attention to the customers that you think will be clients of yours. And you have to understand the customers that will not be clients of yours, and why will they make that choice to not choose you? And that's as important as talking to future people that you think will buy your product. And then you adjust like that. So for our journey, we started in a non-scalable way by just doing direct works and services, similar to what Corinna's talking about, where she went into the company and just worked there and absorbed all that information. We worked on a client basis, and we've been learning a ton, and then we've been working that into our platform. So what I'm excited about right now for the business is we just released our platform in beta. So we have beta users now testing it and looking at it and giving us feedback, which is really exciting to get something in front of them like that. And we are going through the funding process. So I can also talk, Quentin mentioned Founders Lab, and we are in what's called Funding Lab, which is the middle slice there, I think that was shown. And it just shows you how the network of FI, how valuable it is, because we went to FI in Frankfurt, Germany. We now moved all the way across to Silicon Valley, California, and I'm able to, for free, immediately get into a program, immediately tap into the mentors of Silicon Valley, people I've never met before, have no idea about my program and my company. And it's been quite easy actually to get a hold of people and utilize their expertise to help me, navigate that funding process here in Silicon Valley. So yeah, so that's where we are. It's been exciting through COVID. It's been a crazy couple of years, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a great decision to be an entrepreneur and start this company. And so exciting to see customers, people, strangers that you don't know, giving you money for what you have to offer. It's really just a rewarding relationship. So yeah, I'm glad to be here with you guys today.
Thanks for sharing. I think there's so many little tidbits of advice. Don't fall in love with the idea and validate earlier was one that we commonly share, but also I remember the first moment when we made our first sale, being a founder, and that's like such a high of a milestone. It's like, hey, we finally have something that we can sell, that people are willing to pay for, and it's valuable. It's a very nice feeling at that point. Definitely a great milestone. Thanks for sharing, and definitely we will come back with more questions. Now, the last but not least, we also have Britta, who's also my fellow co-founder with NNet. Britta is based in Frankfurt, Germany, and is a serial entrepreneur. She had her own business before being with this journey in NNet. Britta is also one of the local directors here at Frankfurt, so feel free to reach out. But Britta, why don't you share also a bit of your journey and this crazy last few years after we started NNet? Yeah.
That's so true. So thank you, first of all, Carol, and everyone to invite me. And also thank you so much to Corinna, Magdalena, and Michelle, how you also bridged some of the things I can only share. So Corinna, I think we share the HR space, the also passion about becoming an entrepreneur, me also as Michelle at a quite late stage. So I belong, unless I go to the hairdresser, also to the graypreneurs, quite honestly, but today it looks not like it, but anyway, and I also relate to a lot, Magdalena, you said, and I think Corinna, you as well, that founding or becoming an entrepreneur and putting yourself onto this journey is so much more valuable if you are not alone. So having a co-founder, having a team is so important. I think I wouldn't be still on that journey if it would not be for Carol, Eugene, and or the team. We have the pleasure and really it's a pleasure and a learning for me every day from all of them, and also the different perspectives of the team, because we come with different backgrounds, and I think that was also being said from each of you. So I'm happy to be here for many reasons, because I had a career as also Michelle before, so I come from executive search, had always a passion and to bring people together and also to help them to fulfill their potential. That's my mission. I felt from the very early stages, so even if when I was a teenager, already I started, and to also network and bring people together, and becoming an executive search consultant was then quite natural to me. So that wasn't a field I wanted to be in. But yeah, I've done that 12 years in an international network, had a great experience both in Germany as well as in London, met great people, really also came quite far. But then also family came into the play, children, and I grew up on a farm. My father is an entrepreneur, and I always had this gene in me, I guess. So it was something as also, I think Corinna said it, there was something missing. So being on the entrepreneurial side, then I decided to, between child 1 and 2, to go into, to become a own executive search consultant and form my own boutique. So I did that step 18 years ago. So I had a corporate kind of career up to just below partner level. Then I really managed my own executive search boutique. And then 4 years ago, I met Carol at a workshop, and that was such a great experience because we would just fall in love business-wise, idea-wise, because we shared this, Carolina being still young and early mom, kind of with little children, mine already grow up. The challenges one faces if you want to have both a career and also family, etc., and how to cope with the children, where to put them, how you can continue your, your whole work experience, your career. And we realized there is not really a structure. The structure, for example, FI is giving you entrepreneurs, is missing for women wanting to go back into the workforce. So what we then did, we came up with a structure, with the methodology, and that developed over time the last 2 years before we then incorporated just recently, became now an idea which, similar to Michelle, what you said, we started with a not physical product, but more not a scalable product yet. But in our minds, we always wanted to come to that point to be able to show the whole customer journey, the return to work journey, and build it up into a digital platform where everyone who wants to go back and does not want to postpone their back to work journey can use our platform and get either a recommendation to a job or an upskilling opportunity or a project to continue the career journey and really reach your potential. So that's and ahead. One career is not enough, as we say, I had many careers now, so starting with being in a company, then building up my own business, and now really building a company, which is again different, and it's so exciting. And my takeaways so far, and we are in the middle, even more at the very beginning. We are now, looking into, and I think Michelle said that also the Founder Institute gave us also some outreach to, and network is so important. That's what I wanted to say. This network, not only of FI, but also looking out for people who can, support you on your journey. I think especially the startup environment ecosystem is so supportive. Take it and use it, and because I've never experienced something, I mean, we could all compete against each other, but that doesn't make sense. So why not helping us flourish and support each other like we do today with giving tips to each other and also to the community. I think that's one thing. I think also we are sometimes, and that's a bit specific for women, we are sometimes a bit not risk averse, but shy. So I would encourage everyone to be more bold, because it is bold to share your ideas, bold to reach out to customers, bold to ask for investment, bold to, reach the sky. There is no limit, and we have to feel it. We have to encourage each other and use the network we have and expand it every day. And I was recently, and there's a study called Moving Ahead, which was done about women entrepreneurship between Frankfurt, London, and Paris. And Frankfurt and London are equally good or bad in terms of percentage of women in entrepreneurship. So 9 out of 100 women are in Frankfurt found their own company. 16 of 100 men do that, and then only 19% of women have the idea of founding their own company, whereas I think there are 36 men who have an idea and have it in their mind to plan to found their own company. And why is that? There were 3 reasons for that. Most of the women are more risk averse than sometimes there's a lack of Selbstvertrauen. It's not self-confidence, it's self-assurance. I can't directly translate now. And I think, and the 3rd one is networking more actively. Those are the 3 reasons they gave, for example, to enhance that percentage. And I think also that, and that's why I also love that we are all here together, we need more role models. So you all are role models, Corinna, Magdalena, and Michelle. Carolina as well, in terms of, if we show it's possible and we show there are some successes, then others will follow. I think it's just a natural thing. So I'm done, sorry, was a bit long, I don't know, but.
I think it was very important to know what's the statistics in the Frankfurt ecosystem here, as many of us are, somehow linked here, even not physically here. So thanks for sharing that, Britta. I think there were lots of takeaway also of what are some of the things from you and also all the other panelists. So maybe now we start off the Q&A process. So Eugene, if you could be off the spotlight and bring everything here, everyone here into gallery mode, and then we can start off with some first few questions. Corinna, thank you for being here. I know you need to run. Corinna is not well, but she's again this very strong, bold woman who wants to also give back and support. Maybe you would like to give some final thoughts before you have to run into your doctor's appointment, because we have some sharing here as well. What are some of the advice?
Yeah. Just quickly, I think Britta put it in very wise words. First of all, be bold. Yeah, you are better than you think. Just try, just test the waters. Men on average overestimate themselves. Women on average underestimate themselves and are underestimated. And I was always, what helped me was, what is the worst thing that could happen to me if I fail? And also, what's the worst thing business-wise or economically that can happen to you if you fail completely in Germany with our social security network? Okay, you will never starve. You will probably not be homeless. And on the side, there is the FI network, there's the women network. We will always catch you. And that is always like, that's my last word of advice, and also kind of a reach out. Women, let's stick together and let's build those, like a counterpart to the old man networks, where they kind of give deals to each other, where they give jobs to each other, where they do mentoring, stuff like that. That is something where men are actually better than us women, even though we are the better networkers, but we try not to profit from them because we are so nice. Yeah. So let's get a network started where we women profit from each other, ask for help, offer help, and let's get shit done. And now I will go to my physical therapist.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Corinna. Yeah, I agree. Let's get shit done. I think it was on your office logo as well. Yeah. So unfortunately, Corinna can't stay longer because of she has an issue with her back. But maybe we can ask some of the first question. Lisa, you had a question. So why don't you start off the process? Yeah.
Yeah, hello together. I'm here because I wanted to see you again.
Well, I love to have you always. Yeah.
Yeah, and hear about your process. Super exciting and really good advices. I can really relate to any advice because of my own experience. And yeah, actually ask your customer what they need and what they want to pay for. And it's like really crucial. Also not taking the fails too serious, like just get ahead of the process. And it takes a while. You know, when I started, I thought, okay, I'm going to be rich and famous in 2 months. It's not going to happen. It takes a while. And yeah, so it's very good that we are networking and talking like honest to each other, what it really takes to make things work. And it's helping me a lot. So yeah, I was actually joining FI last year. And I'm just curious because I'm in Portugal and I'm thinking about what I can do if I should join again the program or just, you know, get in contact with the FI Institute here. Yeah, so what you would recommend me, because I'm actually now in a new MVP phase and I don't know if I have time for the whole program again to test like the new idea, but yeah, what you would suggest or yeah.
I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing in California, Lisa.
Yeah, cool.
And what's worked for me, which is just fantastic, honestly, is you're an FI graduate?
No, I didn't graduate. So
okay.
I jumped out like
early,
and now I have the possibility to join like now again if I want to. And yes, so I'm thinking about what to do.
Okay. So the what I can speak to is from the graduates. Yeah. As graduates, we have access to the international network of mentors. But I think you have to go through the program to get this. Yeah. So maybe this is maybe one of the FI guys want to answer this, Carolina or Quentin or Eugene.
Yeah. I mean, I can start off and the address of directors you can also add on. I think FI Lisbon is one of the stronger chapters to my knowledge. I don't know directly the person from there, but the best person you can speak with is another of our fellow director / mentor, Pedro Ferreira, because he has been in touch with the FI chapter in Lisbon. I mean, I tell you this, I'm jealous that you're in Lisbon in front of the sea. You know, it's, I think that's the advantage of being a remote founder, that we have this possibility to be everywhere. But definitely because, you know, some of the, Lisbon is one of the startup hubs in Europe. Web Summit is there every year. It will be now live as well. So there will be teams from the Frankfurt ecosystem, from Founder Institute, from WeWork, even from the Haas and Trade and Invest team that's going there. So I would say leverage all these networks and get in touch with the FI chapter directors, and they can link you. I think it's a personal choice whether you want to complete the program. I mean, you know, we are biased. We're always going to say join and complete it and leverage it. But completing, like Michelle said, really has the benefit of being in the other founder programs that Quentin shared. You know, the product market fit, I think it's called a lab as well, right? The funding lab, the VC lab, if you want to also look into funding and investing. Did I miss something? The rest, Eugene, Quentin? Britta?
Just a quick comment. The Portugal program starts in October 24th, I think is the deadline. So go check out their local event. Really do talk to them. And then you'll have access to one of the directors and they can help you out locally. This year, it's particularly interesting. We're still doing a virtual year because we're still living through the pandemic. So whether it is the Portugal program, our Frankfurt program, or one of the other programs, it's still being supported virtually. The positive aspect of that is that you can be anywhere. The negative is that you don't get the one-on-one interactions. There's a lot of value in, you know, connecting physically with people and being able to exchange that way. It's just not the same. But definitely, as a person who dropped out, you've got access to the program for this year. My recommendation would be, like, at least have that discussion with the local director so you can figure out if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's nice. I think, yeah, I will talk to Pedro. I think we're already in contact, and I'm also building my network here in Lisbon, so I think it makes sense. And we are still, I mean, connected with Frankfurt always, I think,
Yes,
because it's my home state, so it's totally fine. But yeah, it makes sense. And yeah, so that's also the reason why I dropped out last year, was because I didn't want to incorporate in Germany, because I know I would leave the countries. And so now also I need some help with incorporation and all these things.
Yeah.
So one comment on that, even if you are not incorporating in Germany, for example, Michelle graduated from the German program but incorporated in the US. We had people who incorporated in Estonia, in London, in Mexico in this last semester. So your incorporation location shouldn't block you. It makes things a little bit more complicated because we then need to reach out to the network. But that's a nice thing about FI, is that they're present in so many countries that they can help you in that process, finding the right contacts and getting that done.
Yeah. And another thing, I think, Lisa, what Quentin also mentioned in his presentation, I think this whole program should not be seen as homework, you know, going from week to week, but as your own progress. And if you're now at MVP stage again, so with a different one, then the program itself, and with being part of a cohort and being having directors around you that can be in Frankfurt or in Lisbon or anywhere, gives you the feedback. And I think this feedback is worth a lot. And that comes then very naturally. So for me, this is probably, other than the structured program, is the real benefit, the network and the feedback you are receiving to get better, a better product market fit, and re-evaluate your idea and adapt it. Otherwise, you have to reach out to a lot of people. This is just naturally within the program. For me, that's a very good advantage as well.
Yeah, I was also really benefiting from this last year as well, from the feedback and pitching all the time, you know, get clear on your message. And I wasn't sure if I want to bootstrap or if I want to go for fundings, but yes, I will just reach out, and then I think it makes sense, you know, like just to join again and just to try, and then I see if I can keep up or not, or what I'm going to do, but just not to leave the chance, and for sure.
I will tell you, if for funding, if you're ever going to go for funding, the access that you get, you know, versus just doing it yourself and networking and finding investors on your own in your local environment, I think the advantage you get is you get much deeper access to investors you would never find by yourself during the program, because depending on what week you're in, they're listening to your pitch, and you can sit and talk to them, and then they have office hours later. Other people just don't have access to these guys like that. They don't have time in their calendars to advise everybody. So a lot of them do this through structured programs like FI and other accelerators. And I think had I stayed in Germany, I would have a much easier time finding funding right now, honestly, because some of the mentors that were super helpful to me were also investors. Right. And I think that for me, that's a super advantage that you get over other companies that haven't gone through FI, is you're ahead in those relationships.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good, Lisa, and a good thought. Leverage whatever you gain from FI, and we are all there to support. As Magdalena says, it's important to give back.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I have a question. I will first ask Magdalena, and the rest of the panelists feel free to jump in, or even the FI directors here. So there are now a huge attention on female founders. Female founders are on the press all the time. I think Britta was just even featured on Handelsblatt recently with the top female entrepreneurs, or female, I think, leaders, right, in Germany, tech leaders in Germany, as one of the articles. So with so much attention and focus on social media, has this been effective and useful for you? Or anyway, Magdalena, you would like to answer first. How have you, benefit or not benefit from the process?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, because I mean, there's this huge wave of a lot of attention, like female founders. They are suddenly overall, and it's great, because I mean, there is this huge lack that women, and we had this discussion earlier, why are women more risk averse in these things? And I think it's just very important to show more role models, like we also discussed earlier. And press, of course, is a great multiplicator in this field. And it shows more stories, and people might be addressed much more and feel not like alone, being alone. But on the other hand, of course, there are also many female founders that, I mean, I felt sometimes, okay, where is the entrepreneurship in that field, and where's kind of the startup enthusiasm in that field? So sometimes, of course, all people also jump on this wave and use that for a different purpose, let's say just for personal branding and just being more out there. But at the end, what some people argue with is sometimes I feel not very productive, because many people are focusing on the disadvantages in our society, and that is like focusing on the risk and these things. So I think it would actually be more helpful if more people would just tell their stories instead of just telling what is bad in our society, and focusing on these things. Because at the end, if you plant a bad seed, then it also grows into, let's say, a bad plant. But if you see something positive, then something positive would also come back. So I think like discussions like these, where people also can like share and ask, is just so much more important and helpful than just jumping on this wave of talking bad and raising bad situations. But I mean, on the other hand, there are so many people that foster other women, and this is amazing, because then this whole community also grows, and at the end, pushing more female leadership out there. And there was just this article in Welt, is just very important to show actually the huge advantage and the benefits of women. This sounds super strange now because it's even more stereotypical, but raising and pushing diversity in general in the press is, I feel, a very good thing, because it fosters and supports diversity, which at the end is just amazing for a startup and for innovation and for our society in general.
Anyone wants to jump in more to this question?
Yes. Yes, I would love to, because, when I started my career, that was in '94, we didn't have that discussion, but we also didn't have that percentage of women on leadership levels in the startup environment. It was basically not really existing. So I think this hype on one hand side is unfortunately a bit needed. Also, we are talking about the percentage on the C level, on the board level. I think these are all things which helps to get more women and their perspective. And that's an additional value for the whole economy, even for the whole world. If you add more, perspectives, cultures, religions, whatsoever, makes sometimes a process or decision a bit more difficult, but at the end, it's a better, more sustainable decision. So what I want to say with that, I think it's good that we have this hype. I still think we should invite men be also supporting women and also sharing good experience, because we with And Ahead, for example, I talk to so many and they say, oh, my experience with women is great, you know, especially moms coming back, they are more efficient, more focused, more whatsoever. So they do multitask very well. So we should not have that discussion, women or gender-based, kind of more what we add in terms of quality, in terms of perspective, in terms of we have a talent crunch, we need talent. So we should enable those who wants to go back to work, for example, and give them a chance and upskill them so that they fit into the economy growth. And at the same time, I think women have a different perspective. They more look into also meaning of their career, doing something meaningful, having an impact on things which changes. Whereas men probably, and it is a good one, we also should learn from, also think more about the profit, the revenue, etc., which we need. I mean, it's what we need. Otherwise, a company wouldn't exist. So I think this combination is just great. But one can also, if you only use personal branding, as you said, Magdalena, you can spend hours within social media to present yourself, etc. And I didn't do that at all before, you know, we entered into the startup world, and Ahead is about community. So you have to be there, and that helps and supports us and the visibility, and that is definitely a positive fact. But turning that into revenue and profit, that is the key factor. Are you able to do that? Because, you know, so and so many thousand followers don't help if you can't convert them. So that's my assumption here.
Yeah, that makes sense. What brings value for our clients, our users, our community, and also making it financially sustainable and profitable for the company, the shareholders, etc. I think it's an important balance we need to strike. Yeah, very good point. I'm looking at the time. I think let's close with maybe one last question before we close, so everyone also can move on for dinner, etc. Those who are here, or lunches for those in the US. Michelle, maybe you would like to put your thought into it. You know, what are some of the biggest challenges that are not being addressed today? It can be, you know, for female founders or early stage founders in general. Moving on from Britta's point, not to also, you know, only focus on the gender perspective.
I mean, I will say, for surprising to me right now is the difficulty of the funding process. And I don't mean the difficulty of getting yourself funded, right? I mean, if you have a successful business model, right? But the actual process of finding investors is amazingly inefficient to me. And I'm stunned that no one has fixed this yet, honestly, because you're in a world, you're dealing with all these people that have insanely efficient visions of the future through technology. Everyone has a platform, everyone has AI, everyone has all these programmers doing all this slick stuff. And yet then when you talk to people about how did you get funded and what's the funding process, it's like, okay, first, you go to your network, you try to find people who know people, you search them down on Twitter, you search them down on all the social media channels. And the typical statistics are you have to talk to 200 investors, you have to ABC them, you have to pitch your least desired investors first so that you hone your pitch. It's a crazy process. And angel investing in VCs both there are so many of these guys out there, and new ones every day. New funds are launching all the time right now. There's a lot of money in the world. Just the inefficiency and the work is all on the founder, right? The expectation is you as CEO need to spend 3 to 6 months, 30 to 40 hours a week of your time, wholly focused on getting your company funded. And this just amazes me, because what it says is that CEOs that are small, that don't have the resources, that can't walk away from their company to do something like that, because then they lose revenue and the whole thing folds. It's a very unbalanced system. So I would say, for me, I don't have a solution for this, obviously, or I would be solving it. But that to me needs to get fixed. And I can't imagine there isn't a reasonable fix for it. Coming, right? But yeah, anybody that's facing the funding process, it's just amazingly inefficient and long, right? Yeah.
Maybe as a follow-up question, also from the group here, do you think there's something different or additional we need to do as female founders in this fundraising process? Because it's a huge, hill to climb, right, or mountain to climb. I
think the challenge for female founders in this is going back to what people are saying about being bold, getting out of your comfort zone. You have to push. And you have to push in a way. I just the other day was in a networking thing with a local, a big angel investor here, and he did a presentation on founders, how to get investing, and he of that talk, he took a few minutes and said, women founders, I want to talk directly to you. He said, you need to be more bold with your stories and your pitches. He said the men are more convincing. He said the women are often more logical, but as an investor, I don't want logic. As an investor, I want you to get me excited about my money is going to come back 10, 20, 50, 100-fold. He's like, and I'm not seeing that from the women investors. What I'm seeing from the women founders are much more practical, which I thought was really interesting. So I think that's in a inefficient, complex process, we're at a disadvantage. And by the way, it's not just women, right? I see this a lot in other minorities. Anybody who's not kind of in the majority is typically very hesitant to be that bold in this kind of process. So it's not just us. Anybody who's, guys that are just shy by nature, they're at the same disadvantage, a woman is. So you have to get in a different mental space, I think, to really navigate that and push forward. And that's something that I'm dealing with and learning how to overcome. But it's a good lesson. Mm-hmm. If you're going to lead a company, we got to learn to do this. So let's do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. I love that, Michelle. Thank you for sharing. I think, thank you for sharing your experience with us, because that's a feeling we all have, but how to overcome it? You just have to do it and learn the lesson, I guess. Super, thanks.
Magdalena, I think you have been. I am very curious to hear from you, because the FREMEN went through all this whole journey and process. I know I said it's the last question, but you're here, so we want to also take advantage of having you here. What is your experience in this in fundraising process?
Yeah, I can totally relate to what Michelle just said. It's really like also about this study, like that women are maybe more risk averse and just maybe want to be the perfect one, just doing everything perfectly. Also maybe not going out with this MVP as soon as possible because they just want to do it perfect. Being bold is really what we have to understand, and we all got to understand this too. In school, it's just about doing mistakes, and like it's not about doing mistakes, but you get measured in school how many mistakes you did, and this is also not kind of the right way how to do it if you want to be create something new and want to be innovative. And at the end, having some job that is just super secure, I think just does not fit to our situation anymore. But at the end, and in German, you have this kind of saying, a gray mouse, there's so many females behind what they've done, but they're not really proud of themselves because they just feel it's maybe not as good as they expected. Maybe they also have just super high levels, what to expect themselves. But at the end, what I really understood, if you don't raise your voice, no one cares. And if you're not bold, no one cares. So also relating to this question about the press, I mean, if you don't raise your voice, if you're not bold, you would never win. But if you are, you have the chance to try out, and then you can win.
Right. I think that's a good way to close the session. Let's all win together, male or female, gender equality. You know, let's try to raise the bar for each other and support each other and give back to each other. So thanks for being here. I mean, the directors here will stay for a couple of minutes after this, but thank you very much, Magdalena, Michelle, Britta, for sharing and then also bringing in some insights also of the ecosystem here. And we're here to answer any more questions, and then look forward to have you all back in another future sessions as well. I'm sure we'll keep doing this on either on a Frankfurt level, Germany level, or even global level as well.
Great. Thanks for having us.